Hello, everybody. This is Alicia. I'm a psychologist.
And I'm Chuck Pazeshki. I'm a professor of mechanical engineering, specializing in engineering design. And I also do quite a bit of work in complex systems theory. So I'm always trying to find the deeper causes behind why my students do the various things that they do. I merge psychology and neuroscience along with design science and mathematics to develop a deeper understanding of why people in different organizations do what they do.
Okay, that's great. And so I would like to interview with a few questions. And the first one is maybe you can briefly talk about, when you look at the design team, what are the types of the organizations, the way people can organize in a design team?
Well, it's a big question, but the reality is that they kind of split up into a dichotomy. And the dichotomy I like to use is a low empathy or more hierarchical organization where information goes one way, or a more loosely formed group where people identify who they need in order to complete the design tasks that they have. And those organizations are more empathetic. The first type of the organization is mostly staffed with area experts and is very, very good for doing design where incremental performance increases are the kind of thing you're looking for. They tend not to do so good for what I call more creative or fluid design environments where you're really trying to flesh out a concept and come up with entirely new paradigms. The first is non-creative, and people take that as kind of a slur, but it's really not. I mean, if you want to design a better rocket engine and you can get 5% more by being an expert in material science, then that's what you want to do. But if you're trying to make a jump from something like a flip phone to an iPhone, then that's kind of a different kind of design, and it's going to require a different design structure.
Sure, it makes sense. So you're talking about a different way of the organization actually will really affect how a design team function. And then in different type of design goal or purpose, there may be a better way of design and structure social network in an organization. Am I hearing you right?
Right. I mean, I think it goes back to the whole Stephen Covey principle, begin with the end in mind. So, but with a deeper understanding of what that beginning actually will yield down the road. And that's what I kind of do research on, is looking at what kind of design structures or what kind of social structures will then make their way into design structures. And it actually all has to do with how information is shared in the organization. And the key element that dictates how information will be shared is the level of empathy of the actors that are on the design team.
Okay, so this is a really important concept. I wonder if we can slow down. Can you repeat what you just say in terms of what will really decide the information coherence in a design team?
What will really decide the information coherence is really the amount of empathetic development of the people on the design team. And here's why. So I'm a professor. When I stand up and give a lecture, I count on students walking away with probably no more than like 20% of the information if all I do is lecture. If I engage those students in that class, where we go back and forth in more of a dialogue, a duplex mode, the whole time I'm adjusting my message so that they also really understand what I have to say. Now, this isn't new per se. I mean, there's lots of people who give classes on things like active listening, where you practice empathetic listening and speaking skills. But it really makes a huge difference in the context of what happens with designs, because the level of synergy that you have in your design structure will directly map to the amount of empathy that you have in the social structure of your design team. It's no magic. It's really pretty straightforward. If people don't talk to each other, if they don't have empathy, that they can't understand each other's viewpoints, it's very, very hard for people to have synergistic expressions of that information inside the design.
Sure. So in a design team, if each individual can be more empathetic, can develop a higher level of empathy, then actually there will be a higher synergy that coming out from this design team.
That's exactly right. And it
Yeah.
really gets down to the very, very basics of sharing information. I think we skip over this because we don't really think about the human dynamics that we have on a team. But the human dynamics really is all about how information is shared. And in the end, every design is basically a creation or an instantiation, or whatever you want to call it, of the information that's inside people's heads. So how they share that really does matter. And how well they understand each other's roles also really matters.
Sure, definitely. Well, maybe I can respond from my own perspective as a psychologist, because as a psychologist, actually, I specialize in trauma prevention and
Mhm.
trauma recovery. So maybe I'm not talking about a design team per se, but within ourselves. This is a genius design, right? We got our body and the mind.
Mhm.
And our body and the mind often actually is like a team. You know, there's a part of us, you know, want to run away. There's a part of us want to fight back. There's a part of us say, well, that's promote harmony. And there's a part of us just want to shut up and then go to sleep. And so within ourselves is almost like how do we coordinate this team of members and to produce a higher or larger synergy. And
Right.
that
I think the
actually is
term that
all about the empathy, self-compassion within ourselves. And very often that if we stay in a hierarchical organization where it's the low empathy environment, then it's very difficult for the individual to learn to how to have empathy toward ourselves. And vice versa, if I don't have empathy toward myself, it's really hard for me to join in a team that where I can have empathy toward other people.
And I think you're exactly right. And in fact, psychologists, I believe they use the term integration to express how all those parts fit together. And when they're perfectly
Mhm.
integrated and you
Mhm.
have a synergistic perspective that's very, very robust within the individual. And it's simply no different for when you put people together. If you
Yes.
have an integrated team that knows itself and knows independent actors as well as how they work with other people, that's
Mhm.
likely to create much more robust and integrated designs.
Yes, yes. So maybe we can say if we want to increase or enhance the level of creativity within one individual or within a design team, one of the key element is really the level of the empathy, and it's also the level of integration. And so, great. I think our conversation today has a lot of great points. And if people are interested in this type of conversation, please feel free to sign up the free webinar that will be provided by Dr. Chuck Brzezowski. Thank you. Bye-bye.